Welcome to Between Two Coaches, a digital mentors podcast for visionary coaches, consultants, authors, and experts building purpose-driven businesses. I am your host, Norbert Orlewicz, co-founder of Digital Mentors, and in every episode here, we are going to dive into real, unfiltered conversations with thought leaders, mentors, and catalysts who are reshaping the way that we teach, lead, and grow. Now, this episode, as always, is sponsored by our Digital Mentors Compass workshop. If you are a coach or expert struggling to stand out right now, struggling to enroll clients consistently or clarify your message, we built this workshop for you. It's a strategic experience that combines expert mentorship and AI-assisted tools designed to simplify your message and sharpen your marketing strategy. You'll walk away from that workshop with a personalized marketing roadmap built for your business, your goals, and your voice. And you can grab a free ticket to the next live session at compassworkshop.com. Again, that is compassworkshop.com. All right, today's guest is Amy Lenius. Amy is a speaker, coach, and director of group coaching at Next Level University, helping women redefine success through self-belief, emotional resilience, and sustainable daily habits. She combines lived experience with actionable insights to guide women toward alignment and lasting transformation. Amy, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, right on. Always love to meet new coaches in the space. And I love what you guys are doing at Next Level University. I'm excited to talk to the co-founders as well at some point here. But let's dive in. So I want to start this conversation with a bit of a thought-provoking question. Hear
Mm.
your perspective on it. I love this industry. I think that it is such a noble industry, the coaching mentorship space. But I want to hear from you. Why do you think that coaching and mentorship and maybe even entrepreneurship, why do you think it's more important now than ever before?
Oh, coaching and mentorship, especially entrepreneurship, I think is a very individualistic journey that I don't know is for everyone, but it is a worthy pursuit if that is for you. But coaching and mentorship in any arena is so valuable because I deeply believe it condenses time. You're actually
Mm.
picking someone's brain that maybe it took them 3 to 4 years, 5 to 6, a decade, whatever that looks like. And they're pouring into you what worked, what didn't, and how to condense the time it would take to get the result. And I love that. I love that because not only is that such a valuable thing, but I love coaching and mentoring because to connect with someone who believes in your vision and believes in you and wants to help you get there, even when sometimes that help is challenging and maybe not the things you want to hear. And other days it's so validating and so uplifting. There's such a nuance there depending on what kind of coach you are. But it is such, like you said, a worthy industry to be in, to help
Yeah.
people achieve their goals or achieve whatever their version of success is. And there's such a place for everyone here because you can coach on health and fitness, dietary things, relationships, personal development, business. There's just endless ways you can pour into someone's life.
Yeah. I want to hear a little bit about your journey here because we all have interesting stories, I find, speaking with so many different coaches over the years. Every one of us has an interesting journey that brought us to this place, that brought us towards coaching. I don't think I've met one coach who was graduating high school saying, I'm going to be a coach when I grow up. Like that is definitely not, it hasn't been kind of a career trajectory. What was it for you? What brought you here? What's the story that led you into the coaching space?
Oh, now I wish I could say right out of high school. That's what I did. No, I actually went into anatomy and physiology first. I went in to be a registered massage therapist. I did my schooling in Victoria on Vancouver Island there, so not far from you. And
My
that
daughter's there right now.
Oh, lovely. That's amazing. And
Yeah.
so that led into an interest of, yes, anatomy and physiology, but I also was on my own health journey at that time as well. I actually grew up really sick with a female related condition called endometriosis. And so the combination of the two really helped me fall in love with process, with trial and error, with stepping out of the box, with learning about empowerment of yourself and how to be your own advocate in those kind of areas. And through I mean, those two journeys, they really came together with me niching down my practice to pre and postnatal care, women's health, a lot of like low back and pelvic balancing was kind of my little area. As soon as someone came to me with an elbow or a knee problem, all of a sudden I was like, oh, I've done too much time here. But we always do that, right? We expand and then we niche down and we expand. And I loved talking to women and empowering women with how to take care of their bodies. But I was also on my own journey of healing my own hormonal condition. And those two worlds collided. I started talking about it in the natural wellness space and ended up in rooms and then on stages. And I was giving presentations about women's health, about cyclical nature, about natural wellness, about detoxing your environment for the sake of your hormones. And that led to me creating my own program for women. It was called the Peaceful Period Project. And I just wanted to empower women with the information about their bodies, their cycles, their cyclical nature. And I was working on that. I actually launched that as we were moving across the country. And I was working with Kevin and Alan. I was a part of their community. I loved going to their book club and I was being coached by them. And I actually ended up sending Alan my keynote presentation. It was called Holistic Healing for Your Hormones. And he reviewed it and he said, you know what? We're hosting a live event soon. Would you be interested in coming down and emceeing? Because they're down in the States. They're about 6 and a bit hours south from me. And I said yes, because I thought, oh my gosh, how fun to go and do something different. And it just expanded from there. I really saw how my work and the things that I knew could combine and add to what they were doing. When I came onto the team, they had a whole community of just heart driven women that were looking for permission to just do more for themselves, with themselves. It was really wonderful to see. And they were so drawn to this very integrous, very permission giving men. And so I partnered up with these couple of bros who are just so dedicated to holistic self-improvement was the tagline when I came in. And I love the word holistic. I love it so much. It helped me through my healing journey and everything. Just that belief that everything affects everything else. But they were doing it from a scale of success, of relationships, health and wealth and quality of life and how they all go together. And I came into this space with them, seeing that I could have such a huge impact with all of the things I have learned from them, combining it with my own work. And I've been nothing but supported and celebrated in doing so here. And it has just been such a beautiful partnership. So now I was an entrepreneur with the Peaceful Period Project and things, but now I'm what's called an intrapreneur in their entrepreneurial journey. And that has been amazing. And like you said, I have my own coaching program through them. The three of us do group coaching together right now, which is amazing. And then of course we do a lot of other free and fun things.
That's a fascinating journey, and something that stands out for me is you're kind of doing this on your own as a individual coach, trying to share your message with women and stuff. And it sounds like you did pretty well for yourself with that realm. Um, but then collaboration comes into the space, and maybe even collaborating with two unlikely bros, because here you are in the women's space, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of a weird collaboration. That's not one that I would expect. What have
Mhm.
you learned through that process of collaboration, of opening yourself up to collaboration in this entrepreneurial realm? What has that sort of given you? What lessons have you learned? Maybe what are some of the challenges as well?
Oh, I have a bias here because I've always loved collaboration. It's one of my favorite things to do. And so I would love when I had lots of coaches ask me to come in and speak to their groups. Hey, I run a women's health and wellness fitness group. Come in and talk to them about hormones. Amazing. Let's collaborate. You do your genius zone here. I'll be in my genius zone here, and we're going to help these women. And so I know some people are really resistant to collaboration because they want to be seen as the expert. And I just invite you to have a little bit of humility there, because when you bring someone in to help your community, you still get all of the credit for doing that, for helping your community, for seeing that, hey, there's a gap here that needs filled and I can bring someone in because I see that so valuable. And there's so many things there that can go with collaboration. But working with the guys, It was a really fascinating transition because, like you said, I'm coming from a space of women's health and I'm hanging out with these two guys who are very dedicated to self-improvement, personal development for the sake of your success, and how that is a very individualistic journey, and there are key things that we can do to get there regardless of what that journey is. And I saw the gaps in my own coaching programs through them.
Mhm.
I saw where I wasn't able to assess and recognize where someone's self belief was, for example, or even what that was based on a health journey. So, we talk a lot about self belief, self worth, and consistency. And now, me especially, because Kevin is Mr. Podcast now, Alan is Mr. Business, and I get to be the one who helps and honors the human personal development for the sake of success. And so, I talk about this a lot. But I could see where women in my program were loving what I had to say, were very enthralled with the idea, but they weren't able to take consistent action themselves. And I couldn't see the
Mhm.
difference between the two of us. If I could do it, here I'm giving you exactly step by step how to do it. What am I missing here? I'm missing their level of self belief, layers of belief. Do they believe it's possible? Well, I'm showing them it's possible, but do they believe it's possible for them? That's a whole different belief layer. And then is it going to be worth it? Now, I believe when I look back, I actually just reviewed my program the other day because Alan's girlfriend, actually, they do wonderful work in the world together. And she does a lot of work with women as well. She wanted access to my program to see if she could use it to help other people. And I said, absolutely, here's all the information. Take it, use it. And so I got to review it the other day and I could see where I was still pouring into those things because I have a really good ability to connect with people and see where they're struggling and support them, but their self worth, their self belief, and their ability or inability to be consistent, I wasn't versed in that enough yet to be able to get them necessarily to continue on even after the program. How often do we run certain things that is only a certain amount of time? And as soon as people exit the program, they struggle to stay consistent. We're not equipping them with
Yeah.
enough tools.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a deep conversation that we can have about that. You talk about holistic personal development. You've brought up the importance of self-worth, self-belief, and consistency. I think those are really three powerful keys there, right? Self-belief, self-worth, and consistency. I've been blown away because I've worked with thousands of people over the last 20 years, many of them much more qualified, much more incredible in what they've accomplished and what they've done in their lives. I mean, I'm a theater school dropout. That was my 20s, right? I have no degrees. I didn't complete any master's degrees and stuff like that. I haven't managed massive teams and huge organizations. We've had our success. What I've been blown away with is how many people on the surface, they look very successful. They have a lot of accomplishments, a lot of achievements. But then they move into this coaching space, this entrepreneurial space, and all of a sudden, they have to show up with confidence and conviction in who they are and the value they bring to the marketplace. And all of a sudden, boom, they get hit with all of the past trauma, the self doubts, the negative self talk. Share with me some of these experiences that you've had specifically working with clients, maybe your own personal experience. How do we navigate this journey of being able to step into our full potential?
Mm. Understanding, like you said, those three key things: self belief, self worth, and consistency. Understanding those three things has genuinely made me so far the best coach that I can be. And I say so far because I'm constantly learning, growing, evolving, and things. But this has been absolutely pivotal work in my work, is to be able to assess the level of someone's self-belief compared to the level of their self-worth, and be able to help them see where they can be consistent, why that is, and where they can't and why that is. Those three things are really, really amazing. So when someone comes in and say they create their own coaching program, they want to put themselves out there, that speaks to a high level of self-belief. Self belief is self efficacy. It's what we believe we're capable of achieving in the external world, how much we believe we can gain an external result. With enough time, energy, and effort, we can get this thing done. Now, there's a macro version of that, just a general number, and then there's a micro version, because to each thing it's very individualistic. Someone is going to have way more self-belief in fixing a car and that they have the capability to do that than I do, versus I would rather step on stage somewhere and speak into people's lives than try and fix a car. Where we all have our little things where we have high self-belief versus where we don't. But just on a macro level, what is your general level of self-belief? Do you believe you're a capable person, or do you feel like you have to act like a capable person because you don't believe you are, and there's a bit of a truth gap there?
Mm.
And that will get poked. Because we really struggle when we're in that truth gap, and we have to inflate a little bit because we have low self-belief. We don't believe we're capable, so we act capable. That can be a big struggle if you're playing that game, and it is not sustainable. So building self-belief, it's
Yeah.
really important to have humility and be okay with where you're actually at, and do the work that it takes to actually gain the skills and the competency and the capability that you want. And self-worth is the internal game. Self-worth is, you've built this program, you are so capable, you're so driven, you believe that you can do this thing, but you struggle to show up as yourself. You struggle to even show up and believe you have value to offer because your worth feels so low. You struggle with boundaries. You're typically the martyr. You have all of these clients, maybe, let's say you do have a program growing, but you will not hold boundaries in that space. You will constantly bend over backwards for your people. Now, again, there is something about that. You should be doing that in the beginning, especially if you're building things. So time of where you're at in your business matters here. But at the expense of yourself is a really tough game. And you will do that if you have low self-worth. And you will fall into comparison really easily. You will struggle to keep the promises you make to yourself. You're constantly running on the next thing rather than being able to be proactive versus reactive. There's a lot of things that come up with both. But knowing, so I come from very high self-belief. I do. I never knew that, but looking back, hindsight's always 2020. When I kept pushing for different ways to heal my body, stepping away from the medical system and being like, I can figure this out. I'm going to go check out this thing over here. I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. That says I have high self-belief. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to stay in a space of woe is me and victimhood. People who stay in that kind of victim energy struggle to believe they can get out of it, so they have low self-belief. And then you combine that with self-worth, and it's a whole thing. But I had low self-worth. I struggled to show up in a way that was excellent. So to me, being excellent means I lose love. And so I always had to dim, appease. I was a people pleaser. I constantly would build almost inauthentic relationships because I was always a curious person, and I would absolutely let other people lead the charge, thinking that they knew better than I did, because I had low self-worth. And it's like, you know what? They probably know better than me. Or I just love to pick people's brains and get to know them and things. And so it makes me look like I don't know about certain things. We could talk about this kind of thing forever. Personality type, core wounds, it's all in there. So to be able to assess those things as a coach is really, really important and really, really valuable. Not only for yourself, you need to know that about yourself so you can build it. Because if you have low self-belief and low self-worth, you're going to be a victim. If you have low self-belief but inflated self-worth, delusional self-worth, you're constantly going to be a villain. And if you have high self-belief but low self-worth, you're constantly going to play the hero and be the martyr. Now, the goal is to be growing your self-belief and your self-worth to become that fourth archetype, the guide. And that's a really wonderful place to get to. Now, we all can go in all of them. We've all been in all of them. We all jump from thing to thing. It's about the awareness. But as a coach as well, the next layer is assessing that in other people, because you absolutely cannot talk to someone who has high self-belief the same way you do someone who has low self-belief, and vice versa. It's detrimental to both of them.
Yeah. Wow. It's so deep. So many things to talk about there. One thing that comes up for me is I talk a lot about blind spots. We talk about self-awareness, and going through these programs and through these processes, we can become more self-aware of our own identities and our own patterns and beliefs and all these types of things. For most people, though, can we really do it by ourselves? Like, can we see through our own blind spots? I know as a coach, it's so easy to see, and this is maybe for all humans, isn't it always so much easier to see where somebody else is missing something, where somebody else has a blind spot? But sometimes it's really difficult for ourselves to see where we have our blind spots. I always think that that's really the one of the big benefits of having a coach, of having somebody that can see those things that you can't see. This is a personal journey, but is it a journey that we can really do on our own?
I mean, yes, in theory you can, but like you said, it's going to take a really long time because it is so
Mm,
hard to get outside of your own biases. It is very challenging. You have to have such a high level of self awareness. And not only that, not only awareness of self, but others in the world to be able to do that. So when you have someone else who doesn't have the biases that you have and that can zoom out and be like, oh, okay, this is where I see you're hitting a ceiling. This is where I see something is tripping you up here. I had a client not too long ago where I said, you know what? We're dancing around something here. We constantly get close to something. And then I said, you have trauma. There is actual trauma here, and I can see it. I can feel it. We can't pinpoint it, but I'm going to send you to someone who does trauma work. And she's like, I don't think so. I don't think I have trauma. Maybe it's just this. Maybe it's just this. When she finally, again, that humility, when she finally had humility enough to say, okay, this is where I'm actually at. And she had someone come in and assess the trauma and things and actually find what it was. Oh my, she is thriving now. She sent me an audio the
mm,
other day saying, I am able to implement the systems that you gave me now that I have figured out what that trauma is and what was holding me back. And it was just this wonderful, again, collaboration. Amazing to be able to do that because I could see it. It was there. And I knew someone could get that out of her better than I could.
mm.
And now
I
she's
always say
thriving.
entrepreneurship. Yeah, it's incredible, that little shift. I always say entrepreneurship is a team sport. It's not something that you should do on your own. And I think the same is could be said about just life in general, right? Like, life is not something you navigate on your own. You need your parents, your teachers, your guides, your mentors, your coaches, your friends, your lovers, all of that really to get the full experience of what life is all about, right?
I agree.
Let's shift entrepreneurship a little bit, because for me, entrepreneurship has been it was the gateway drug to personal development. So I never knew anything about personal development until I got involved in entrepreneurship, and all of a sudden it opened up this world, and I got exposed to people like Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn, one of my favorite early mentors, and I started to really kind of reprogram my brain. And I truly believe that entrepreneurship will force you to face yourself, because it will challenge you in ways that very few other things will challenge. Your family and kids will challenge you, and push on your triggers. Your intimate partners will challenge you, and entrepreneurship will challenge you in those same ways. What has been your experience working with entrepreneurs, with coaches specifically, with people who are trying to create something of their own, create their own business, their own income stream? What are some of the unique challenges that you see that entrepreneurs face and coaches face in growing their business?
Yeah, I deeply agree with everything you just said. I love that saying, wherever you go, there you are. You're there. And if you're an entrepreneur, your entire business, company, team, whatever that is based on you and your
Yeah.
leadership skills and your ability to paint a vision, create a future, and do the things that need done to build the dream, whatever that looks like for you. And that is such a challenging thing because you will constantly meet the level of where you yourself are at. If you are very professionally developed, you can absolutely get a certain amount of the way. But if you're not socially and emotionally developed, you will hit your limitations. And vice versa. I came into this space very emotionally and socially developed. I wasn't even remotely, and never will be, if I'm being honest, as professionally developed as, let's say, Alan, the CEO of our company, or even Kevin, who's the chief sales officer, and all of the other things that they both do for this company. Learning from them and upping that pillar for me, my level of professional understanding and development, has not only expanded me as a coach, because now I help people build out their own businesses, their flywheels, their funnels, their all sorts of things that I would never have known even the name of. But it's, where is your strong suit of those three? And then how can you bring up the other two? Because it
Mm.
all really matters. So even you can be as professionally as developed as you want to. Alan is the perfect example of that. The guy's brain might as well be a computer. He is a business major, a computer engineer. The dude has worked with Apple. I mean, you're going to talk to him, you're going to meet this guy. He's such an engineer. You can see it. Everything is in numbers and frameworks and things. His professional development is absolutely wild. The way he coaches people in business and how he helps people become successful in business is an absolute privilege to watch, genuinely. He had to come up in social and especially emotional intelligence. And ever since he did that, he is crushing the momentum of the company. Everything is just unbelievable.
Yeah, that's amazing. Understanding yourself, understanding your strengths, gifts, talents, and abilities, and then also understanding your weaknesses and those things that either you have to improve in yourself, or you partner and collaborate with and have other people in your company fill in those pieces. I've worked in partnership in all of my entrepreneurial career. I've tried some things on my own, never been as successful as when working in collaboration, and it's for those reasons. That's what I love about my two partners, is they absolutely fill in those gaps for me that I'm missing, that I'm not good at, that I'm not strong at, or maybe even that I just don't enjoy as much, right?
Yes,
And I think that's what's beautiful and amazing about collaborations and partnerships.
very much so. And
Yeah.
you don't even have to be an entrepreneur to start collecting people of value like that in your life. And
Yeah. I
see
love.
the benefits of it. I have someone,
Yeah.
for just a prime example. So Alan coaches someone in our community who is a part-time, he works in the education system, and part-time works in the bank and in finances. And so he works with kids and also works in finances, and wanted to get into math tutoring but also financial coaching for children and families. And I said, I homeschool my two boys. Would you like to start coaching them on math and finances? I'm collecting these people who have all of these different skills than I have, and allowing them to pour into my family's life. And then we've exchanged coaching, myself, him for me, and then now I do pay him and stuff too. But it's that, who can you collect in your life that you can have this beautiful equal exchange of value, so that you don't feel like you have to be all, because we literally can't. We can't be everything and all things all at once. And I know a lot of us love to try to be, but if we can bring people into our life that really align with our values, like me coming in and being able to support Kevin and Alan on their entrepreneurial journey, why it works, even though the three of us are so wildly different. Why it works is we all have the same values. We believe in the same things, and we have this direction that we want to go that makes sense to all of us.
Yeah. I love that. I love it. All right. I got a couple of last questions here, specifically about coaching. I want you to share with us, what's one lesson that you learned the hard way in your coaching journey that you wish you had known earlier, or maybe it's an unconventional belief now that you hold about this industry, about coaching in general, that maybe others might disagree with, but it's a personal experience that you've personally had through your journey.
Hmm. Oh, I feel like there's so many. One, and I'm sure you hear this all the time, is that you don't have to be the expert to support other people. You just have to be two or
Oh
three
God, I
steps,
love that.
right? You just have to be a little bit ahead. And you have to remind yourself. So when I was doing the Peaceful Period Project, for example, and I was teaching women what I consider basic anatomy, I was like, why would these women pay me to learn about their bodies when they could do what I did. They could go read the books and listen to the things, and it's all there. They're paying for your knowledge that you took time, energy, and effort to collect and can just present to them in 9 weeks. And to have you guide them along the way in it, to support their struggles, to support their wins, even. Some people need you there to support their wins because they don't have those kind of people in their life. People who are doing excellent things in the world, it can be very lonely very quickly. And so it's lovely to be able to support them in that too. But also, I think not only to be able to assess belief and worth and consistency in other people, but to grow my own self worth. Because again, even me saying, who's going to pay me to talk to them about something they could go learn in a book? That's a low self worth thing. So, growing my
Right.
own self worth, that has been unbelievable. And it has poured out into everything that I do and everything that matters most to me. So, even my children, my husband, my relationship, my business, everything, growing my worth has been the most pivotal part of my life and my business for sure. And so, being able to do that for yourself and help facilitate that in others is amazing.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, this is a challenging industry to be a coach. There's so many things that we deal with, honestly, to build a successful business. I love that you shared that because I see so much imposter syndrome, especially with a lot of newer coaches that are just kind of getting started in their first couple of years, and they're comparing themselves to others and trying to think, how do I fit in the marketplace and who's going to hire me as a coach? And then they make mistakes like trying to be too broad and trying to help everybody and speak to everybody, which then their message just kind of gets lost in the void. What do you feel, because you've been a coach, you're working with coaches, you guys train coaches as well. What's the hardest part have you found about being a coach that nobody talks about? Like, what's a struggle that you think most coaches just don't share openly?
Oh, that's tough. I personally, based on my core wounds and my certain things, I actually find that it's a lot harder to bring someone down a peg than it is to lift them up one. But sometimes people need that. If you have inflated self worth and inflated perception of self, and you come into the market and say, okay, well, here's what I want to build, Amy. I want to build out this coaching program, and my time is worth $550 an hour. And I pause you and I say, has anyone ever paid you $550 an hour to be their coach? And you say no, then I am absolutely going to tell you you need to drop your prices. And people don't like to hear that. So that is an example
Well
of where you
done.
have to bring someone into reality because, yes, intrinsically as a human, you are absolutely worthy, the most worthy. We all are. But in the marketplace, you have no value yet. And I hate to be the one to tell you that. But I also secretly love it because I do a lot of free coaching. Still, I do a lot of free coaching. And I have people come in who had free sessions first, and then they pay my very low fee of $47 an hour to start. And then they come at me with, well, I am worth a lot of money. I want to charge this. And I have to say, okay, you're coaching with me because you believe in what I can help you create. You believe in my value. Oh, yes, it's been amazing, Amy. This. Okay. Why did you say yes to coach with me at first? It's because it was free. I had to show you that I had the capability. I had to build that trust you, know you, like you, trust you factor within me. And then you said yes because it was only $47 an hour and it's pay as you play. You're not signing anything. It's not, I'm as dedicated to this as you are. You can do weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly.
Mm.
And you said yes because it was only $47. Oh my gosh, I can have another hour with you for $47. Absolutely, that's worth it. But I had to build that belief in you, in me. Everyone asks, how did you become a public speaker? For free. Small rooms for free for a long time. And it's people don't wanna hear that nowadays because it's a very instant gratification world where you have access to people's success, where again, most people are online acting good rather than being good at something, and you see their success, and it might be an overnight success in your opinion, but you don't have access to the decade beforehand that it took them to get there, and I'm trying to highlight the decade it's gonna take you to get there, and people don't like that very much.
I love that you said that. That was so not what I was expecting, and it's perfect. I was thinking about very specific clients that I've coached where it was exactly the same. You know, we get let's give a little bit of reality check here. Okay, here's the real situation. I love it, and the way that it ties into the person that you're speaking to, that inflated self belief. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
This has been awesome. Really, really great conversation. Thank you so much for this. I've really enjoyed it. Let's wrap this up. If you could please share, where can people connect with you? Where can people find you online? Do you have a website, just social media? Where can they connect and get more of your amazing insight and wisdom?
Yeah, thank you so much. Next Level University has a website, nextleveluniverse.com, where you get to see all of the amazing things that we do and all the different services we provide to the world. Some paid, lots free, and but social media is great. I'm just on Instagram and Facebook. I know there's so many other ones out there. I can barely navigate the two. It's not my genius zone, that's for sure. So but when you reach out to me on social media, it's just at Amy Lenius on Instagram or Facebook. And when you DM me, it is me answering you back because I deeply believe in human connection and the value that that brings. And so if you want to pick my brain about self-belief, self-worth, consistency, any of this, I'm happy to answer my messages there. And my first call is also always free.
Amy, thank you so much. Really great to connect with you. Really great to meet you. I look forward to meeting your partners as well in a future interview. I think you guys are doing excellent work, and maybe we'll actually meet each other in person at a live event at some point because we like to go to those as well. So that would be awesome. Thank you so much. Like, we will leave all of the links in the show notes so you can find Amy if you're just listening to us right now. So please make sure to check that out. And if you enjoyed this episode, we are a growing podcast, not like you guys. Man, I can't wait to speak to. Is it Adam? That's the podcast guy.
Kevin's Mr. Podcast. Yeah.
Kevin's Mr. Podcast. Okay, good. So I'm glad that we waited to have Kevin and Adam both on the show, because he's the guy that I want to talk to for sure, because this is a new growing podcast here. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it out with your networks and audiences. Be sure to subscribe. We would really appreciate that. Amy, thank you again. This has been a wonderful conversation between two coaches.